Just as long as I'm getting 10,000 steps a day, I can eat whatever I want. I don't have to worry about anything else, just getting these 10,000 steps a day. No. Walking 10,000 steps a day has helped me to lose over 35 pounds. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that are not talked about enough when it comes to walking 10,000 steps a day. Because if you're just starting out, I don't want you to go into it blindsided and not know some of these things that I had to learn the hard way. So I'm going to share those with you. And if you're new here, my name's Coco. I talk all things fitness, self-development, and wellness, and I'm also a registered nurse. So you might as well subscribe and join the tribe. And also, if you're ready to just meet your fitness goals, get into the shape that you want to, and get your dream body, then make sure to like this video because we're going to make sure we get there together. Comment down below what some of your goals are. We're going to get right into it. And the very first thing when it comes to walking 10,000 steps, which I don't think is talked about enough, is that your feet can really start hurting if you go from being sedentary to walking 10,000 steps a day. For me, I was super sedentary, always sitting down, working from home, not getting a lot of steps in. And then I heard about this 10,000 steps a day thing, and I'm like, that's something I can do. But once I started doing that, I kind of went a little too fast and a little too crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I can get steps in. Let's see how many I can get. Let's just go crazy. And that's exactly what I did. And as a result, my feet were hurting like I was just at a Beyonce concert in heels like all night. Okay. So I had to realize that I needed to go slower, especially in the beginning, but not just that, I needed to invest in some comfortable shoes. So that's something that I would recommend, making sure that you invest in comfortable shoes, not just some random sneakers. Definitely investing in shoes that have good support, that can support you for these long walks, because not just one day or 2 days. If this is something you're trying to do for the long haul, comfortable shoes is a really important thing. Being cute is good. You know, I started off with like, okay, yeah, like let me buy some cute shoes, but comfort over cuteness when it comes to getting all these steps in, that was something that I needed to realize, making sure that I have really good support for my feet, because otherwise they will be burning at the end of the day. So that's the first thing, just making sure to have really comfortable shoes, especially starting out with getting 10,000 steps a day. And then the next thing that is really important that's not talked about enough is planning ahead for the weather. So depending where you live, so like for Florida example, extremely hot, right? So thinking that you're going to go outside and not have a hat, not have sunglasses, will just kind of set you up, make you want to end the walk early, make you feel aggravated, and like if you wear too much clothing to where you're sweating. So just planning accordingly for the weather is really important. I feel like it kind of goes without saying, you would think, but then like you end up out there and you're like, why did I wear this much clothing? Or why did I not wear enough clothing? Like sometimes if the weather is cold, then it's like, okay, but I'm gonna like warm up, but still having even just a light jacket, just because the temperatures, depending on how fast you're able to walk or you feel like walking, then you might warm up, but still might be cold depending on how cold it is. So just really planning accordingly to that. And then also, again, if it's somewhere hot, having a baseball cap, having a hat, having sunglasses, wearing sunscreen, also just having water as well, just really planning accordingly with these things so that you're not halfway through the walk and you're like, okay, forget it, I can't do anymore because I'm just sweating like crazy or I'm freezing, right? So that is a really important thing, is just planning ahead for the weather. And then this also, like planning for the weather, where if you know it's hot, then like, okay, going like early in the morning so you're missing that peak sun, or toward the evening when the sun is going down, or if you're able to, going inside and walking on a treadmill or getting a walking pad, but just really making sure that you are planning ahead for the weather. The next thing is understanding that 10,000 steps, depending on how fast you're walking, is going to take some time. So I think when you first start out, you're like, okay, yeah, let me just go and get 10,000 steps. Let me just walk to the coffee shop and back. And then you'll walk there and back and realize you're at like 2,000 steps. And you're like, that's it? A lot of times we underestimate how long it actually takes to get 10,000 steps. So it takes a lot of intentional walking in order to get to 10,000 steps. Just depending, for me, it can take, just depending on how fast I walk, it might take an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. It just really depends. So a lot of times, depending on the time that you start that walk, then it's hard to dedicate that much time of an hour and a half of just straight walking. A lot of us, we have really busy schedules. So it's kind of just understanding that it takes time and then again, planning according to that. So whether that's okay, breaking it up, like I know this takes about an hour and a half. So I will walk 30 minutes in the morning, try and walk 30 minutes on my lunch break, and then walk 30 minutes in the evening. So breaking it up so it's not as daunting, because doing it all at once is can definitely be overwhelming, especially when you're just starting with that amount. Then it can also feel discouraging and make you feel like, okay, this takes forever. How will I be able to keep something up like this? But for me, I like to try and break it up when I can. These days, I kind of, if I have the time, like I'm doing it all in one shot, but also it feels a lot easier when it's just broken up, or when I'm getting those steps naturally, when I turn my errands into walking instead of driving, when I just when I'm just more intentional about going to getting steps wherever a friend wants to meet up, instead of just doing something where we're sitting. I'm like, oh, like we should go for a walk, right? Let's go to the park. Let's do something where we're active so that I'm also getting steps in as well, in addition to what I did myself, just including those steps in other activities. So that's really important to know as well, which I don't think is talked about enough. It's just that it can take a big chunk of time out your day. So understanding that is really important. And then the next thing is, when it comes to walking, especially if you're walking outside and you're going to do it like all in one chunk, then a lot of times you'll have to understand with having to use the restroom and taking restroom breaks. So planning a path where you'll be able to do that, especially if you're bringing water, especially if it's somewhere hot, you're going to drink water and then you have to pee. Planning ahead with your path to maybe when you're going to stop by a grocery store, stop by a coffee shop, so that you'll be able to stop in and use the restroom. I think it's really important to plan ahead for that, because you don't want to be on this long walk and you're in the middle of nowhere that has no restrooms and you have to pee super bad. So trying to plan ahead to where you have a route where it will have a restroom somewhere along the way where you can take a bathroom break. So again, you're not cutting your walk short just because you have to go pee, and then feeling like, okay, I had to end my walk because I have to pee and I don't want to go back because it's far away. So if you can, like scheduling it and planning it to where you have a bathroom somewhere on your route. Another thing that is not talked about enough, that no one talks about when it comes to walking 10,000 steps a day, is once you start doing it more and more, you will begin to get antsy when you're sitting down for too long, right? You will find opportunities at any time to get steps in. You'll be like, oh my gosh, we can probably do this instead. Like you'll be that friend that's like, hey, do you want to walk here instead of taking an Uber? Because you're thinking this is another way to get steps in. Or, for me, if I'm at the airport, instead of just sitting there and waiting, I'm like, you know what? This is the perfect time to get some steps in. I'm just going to go walk around a little bit. You'll kind of be that person that's like, oh yeah, we can just, do you want to take the stairs instead? Like some of your friends will probably start to be like, what is wrong with this girl? Like, other people see the normal way as just taking the elevator, but you're just down for any time to take the stairs, take the long way, to walk instead of drive. So you will start finding opportunities in every situation to get steps. I know for me, one time at the Atlanta airport, it's like a huge airport and they have the train throughout the airport. But anytime I go, like I'm always wanting to walk to my terminal instead of getting on their little train, just because I'm like, this is another perfect opportunity to get steps in. And there was another time where my flight was delayed and they changed our gate like multiple times, even though we were all already sitting at the gate and we had to keep walking back and forth. I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to get in more steps while everyone else was annoyed and aggravated. It also just helps switch your mindset so much, because instead of looking at things like, oh my gosh, I have to walk here, I have to take the stairs, the elevators down, or oh, we have to change gates, or I have to walk here, or something like that. Oh, it's further than I thought. Instead, now you're like, oh, this is great. Like I'm getting in more steps. That's how I look at everything now. And that's basically how your mind starts to reset. The next thing that no one talks about enough, I feel like, especially for us girls when it comes to walking and just making sure that we're switching up our walk routine, and not walking like the same exact route every time that we walk. Especially making sure that we're walking in a safe place, like, not just picking any unfamiliar area that we're not familiar with to go walking, kind of walking where a lot of people are, just making sure that I'm walking in areas that are well lit, where there's a lot of people around, where people can see me, and more populated areas versus just like random trails that are like no one's out there. Like, sure, it can be scenic, it's out in nature and everything like that, but just opting for safety and like in an area that's seen, especially if I'm going by myself, versus like isolated paths where there's no one around, or walking at night when it's dark, things like that. Just really being aware and making sure that I'm walking in the daytime before it gets dark out. And if it is getting toward being dark, like making sure that I'm walking with someone, not by myself. So just kind of keeping those little safeguards, bringing protection if you need to as well. Whatever that might be to protect yourself. But yeah, so that's definitely something that I feel like is not talked about enough when it comes to walking 10,000 steps a day, because a lot of us are walking outdoors. And so just switching up the path, not having it be the same exact route every time that you walk, just especially even if you are going to do the same route sometimes, but not like the same time every day or the same day, maybe switching up the days you do a certain path, you do a certain route, and switching up the times, I think is really important. So, like, to keep people guessing. So, that's another thing that I don't feel like it's talked about enough, but it's really important. The next thing is just to understand that we hear 10,000 steps a day, like this is this magic pill, and we're just going to be snatched in a few days after walking 10,000 steps a day. But if you have fitness goals and goals you want to reach, for me, I had to realize it was not just 10,000 steps a day that was going to help me to reach that. I knew that I wanted to get more toned in all areas of my body and strengthen my legs and my core. And walking does a lot for that. But to get to where I wanted to in my dream body, I knew that I had to start incorporating weightlifting as well, in addition to eating healthy. So, focusing on nutrition is a really, really big part of it. It's about 80% nutrition and the rest is working out. So, thinking that, just 10,000 steps a day will be the end all be all. That's all I have to do. It's just as long as I'm getting 10,000 steps a day, I can eat whatever I want. I don't have to worry about anything else, just getting these 10,000 steps a day. No, that's not the case. So, understanding that it is a combination of other things, like incorporating strength training, like drinking a lot of water, and focusing on nutrition. And then that paired with walking really becomes a game changer, because for me, I have begun making walking my main cardio, but that's not the only thing that I do. But coupling that with eating healthy and strength training and drinking my water, that has done wonders for my body and helped me to see so much change and helped me overall ultimately lose over 35 pounds. So comment down below which of these were like a surprise to you or you feel like you can relate to. And also let me know what other types of videos you want to see. But again, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and like this video. And yeah, make sure to come back for more. And I can't wait to see you in the next video.